Last time on Loyalty and Leaks, the Untold Gilmore story. Battle lines were drawn and a party divided. Liberal members on the New South Wales South Coast took sides, bringing down Gilmore MP Anne Marlis, despite intervention from the most powerful person in the country. Tonight, in part 2, we look at the most dramatic day on the election campaign trail. The Prime Minister parachutes a former high-profile Labor Party boss into the seat as a Liberal candidate, overriding the local branches. The decision testing loyalties, forcing a once staunch Liberal candidate to quit the party. Who called the shots, who was left in the dark, and the collateral damage from a decision that changed the course of the election in Gilmore.
Hello, Mr. Ward.
How are you?
That's an interesting shirt you're wearing there.
Are you happy? It's very large, isn't it?
No.
I don't fill it out so well. Graham French, Greg Watson. Thank you. G'day, mate. Graham French.
But what I find really surprising is that there was such antipathy between Greg Watson and Gareth, and he is de facto handing out for Greg Watson today.
Was he? That's amazing. I didn't think Gareth would ever hand out for me. Goodness me. I must say nice things about him now.
I actually heard that, and I'm absolutely flabbergasted to hear that a good Liberal person like Gareth to hand out for Team Watson.
You got one for Gareth, or?
He's not part of the team. Initially, he was actually folding over the paper to show that Greg's face wasn't there. I mean, really?
Nothing surprises me anymore, to be honest.
Isn't a vote for Watson today vote for the Greens because his preference is
No.
the Greens?
I think every voter gets the chance to make up their mind as to how they vote.
3 groups ganging up with preferences against Joe.
The sign's right behind you, mate. Look. Watson, Labor, Watson.
No. It's an election, mate. Remember Mediscare?
I'm surprised.
Mr. Schultz, how are you? That's the way. Congratulations on last night, matey.
Oh, thanks. Still got a bit of admin work to do, but for it to be signed off by headquarters. But yeah,
Nearly across the line, mate.
nearly.
All
So
right,
close.
well, enjoy tonight.
No worries. Thanks.
There was a big push, I guess you might say, pretty early on for what would be a no vote, or to vote no to not endorse Grant Schultz as the candidate for Gilmore.
I was cheesed off, and I won't be supporting the Liberal candidate.
My overwhelming advice to those people that want to be negative and want to continue down that negative run is there's a door. Don't let the door hit on the backside on the way out.
I'll be honest, let's go back to why I'm not supporting the candidate. Because he did the wrong thing to start with. He challenged Anne as a sitting member before pre-selection had even been called. He had sent an email out to all the Liberal members asking for support. Now, no pre-selection had been called. Like, you just don't do that.
How are you, Grant?
Good. How are you, Shelley? Good to see you.
Shelley's always been a great supporter of Grant's. Grant's always been there for Shelley as well. And now it's time for Gareth to stump up.
Good result last night with the pre-election endorsement.
Hold on. Hi, is Grant taking me from here, is he?
There was no loyalty to the sitting member before she even made up her mind.
Next member for Gilmore. Great fight. Just before you go, Grant. Pretty much.
I can't make. I've got to go with Gareth. I'm sorry. Sorry, Michael.
Just one question. Plenty of time to ask him. Answer your question.
I'm hoping that another candidate will put their hand up. I understand there could be, and I'll have to make up my mind as to what I'm going to do with that.
You just can't have the Labor Party gain power. Certainly not in the seat of Gilmore.
To be honest, I really try not to think about the Liberals too much. Obviously, it's a marginal seat, so people are, very interested in it. Thank you, everyone, for coming to our wonderful Gilmore electorate today. I really welcome you here.
Friends, comrades, it gives me enormous pleasure to declare the Fiona Phillips for Gilmore campaign office open for business.
I probably didn't think it would be that exciting, but when I was there and with everybody there, and Chris Bowen, all the media was there, and it just brought it home how exciting this is for everyone and how important it is. Yeah, it was just, I loved it. It was great. Our Gilmore electorate has great disadvantage, so I'll just hand over to Chris to say a few words.
Well, thanks, Fiona. It's wonderful to be here in Nowra to be supporting Fiona and to be putting her on a platform to win Gilmore and be an important member of an incoming bit of support from the streets, an incoming Shorten Labor government.
We're going to try and catch up with Craig Gabriel shortly. I don't know why you would have Chris Bowen launch your office or your campaign. You would think that the opposition leader, that would be the best thing to do, wouldn't it? I mean, who's the skipper? It's not Chris Bowen.
I think it was perfect. You know, I've been endorsed since March 2017, so in a couple of months that'll be 2 years.
Well, I think Fiona's been well ahead of the game for some time. She's been a candidate for a long time. She's been campaigning. She hasn't waited for a campaign office to campaign.
Will you have enough steam to go the next 6 months?
Oh, absolutely. I think I said when I was endorsed that this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And I'm certainly sure that I'm in the best frame of mind for a marathon.
I understand our opponents haven't even settled on their candidate, despite a pre-selection occurring last year, yet to be endorsed.
Yeah, it is frustrating that it has taken such a long time. The most frustrating thing for Grant, I can imagine, and I've spoken to him about it, and he is extremely frustrated.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out.
Obviously, with the other side imploding in a war with each other, I think that's a pretty poor message for the people of Gilmore from them.
And that is what's happening in the Liberal Party, and I am so sad to see it happen after all these years.
What about if a good independent drops? Do you think that'll make your life a little bit tougher?
It won't change a thing.
This week we've had the names of Warren Mundine, Katrina Hodgkinson, coming from the Nats.
Is that speculation or is
Well, I think that's for Katrina to make up her mind. I think she would be an excellent candidate.
So it's a regional area, it's a regional town. It could be seen as a pretty good national seat.
So have you been speaking to her in regards to the whole hub running down here?
Oh, look, I've had discussions with her. Yes, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't, but it's not for me to make the decision. It's up to her.
You know, once we do have that endorsement of Grant, or if it becomes a call from the Prime Minister, we'll also probably hear from the National Party, and whether or not the Prime Minister then says to his colleagues down the hall in the Nationals, back off because we now have our candidate.
Will you be resigning from the Liberal Party if you publicly supported that?
I'll cross that bridge when I come to it.
Would that be tough for you to make that decision if you do make that decision to resign?
At the moment, it wouldn't be all that tough, considering how I feel with what's been happening and still happening in the Liberal Party.
Let's just make sure it doesn't burst, because that would be really bad. We've been coming to this show for the last 8 years. Gareth first had a stall at the Darby Park show before the first election that he won. So we were here in early 2011, and he's been back every single year since then. So obviously in an election year, it's more important than any other year. We've been giving out balloons to the kids. It's what we would call, I guess, soft campaigning.
I look back on all the things we've done over the last 8 years, and all the things that we said we would deliver or do, we're doing. It's been an interesting 8 years. It's gone incredibly quickly, and looking back, I'm very pleased with what we've done, but very excited about what is yet still to be done.
Gareth is a seasoned campaigner. He's been running in elections since he was very young. He was elected onto Shoalhaven City Council, I believe, when he was 22. So he ran all of his own council campaigns. He obviously played a big role in his own campaigns for office in the state elections. Pays a lot of attention to detail. He's not someone who micromanages decisions, but he's certainly playing a big role in all of the big decisions we're making.
You've just got to be yourself. Don't try and be somebody you're not.
As the campaign manager, I guess, I've got to make sure that we give him the support and the resources he needs so that he can speak to as many voters as possible.
Come on, you having
I'm
fun?
not having fun because they haven't bloody endorsed him. It's pathetic. Every day I get angry.
Why is it pathetic, Shell?
Oh, sorry, that was not for record. Sorry.
Why is it pathetic?
Why is what pathetic? You want to ask me a question?
Yep.
Well, look, today we're at Emergency Services Precinct here at Albatross Road. Can we just get some photos of
We want to back our volunteers. They are working so hard on our beaches.
This summer we've seen a lot of tragic deaths on our waterways, whether it's our beaches, our rivers or our lakes.
That also has some inherent dangers, and it's our surf lifesavers that are there on the front line.
He has not been endorsed. Usually an endorsement would take 1 to 2 days.
How strange is that?
This is most unusual.
It's just, I think it's gone on a bit too long and it is concerning.
The strongest issue or the strongest thoughts I have about it is those of frustration.
We've had members voting for Grant Shultz and he has not been endorsed after a month.
He's told me a lot about you.
All right.
It is just unacceptable as far as I'm concerned.
Membership locally has made it clear who they want. Based on what options were available, they had the option to disendorse. There was a dishonest campaign run by certain key Liberals locally who really enjoy leaking to the local media on a lot of occasions about internal party matters whilst claiming that everyone else is doing it. There's been the process. He's been endorsed. Let's get on with it.
Gareth likes to think he's the power broker, I'm quite sure.
The people that use lines like that are people who are just deliberately making trouble behind the scenes.
That's why he's been after me for some time.
The real power brokers are people like Joanna Gash that plays games. She is an ultimate game player, and I can tell you what, more will be said about her over the coming weeks.
If it's not signed off on, the branches who've elected Grant Shultz are going to start to resign in droves, and they will not work for anybody else because they're writing to me and saying that.
You know, you're getting information from a source and then we have to go back and clarify that. Is that the case?
You just repeated what was in the local papers about the locals weren't going to work for the candidate if Grant Shultz wasn't endorsed. Are you that senior Liberal Party source in the paper that's quoted?
Certainly not. I don't quote myself as senior Liberal source.
Even Joe Gash and Samalis was quoted that they were going to come back and run.
It's another stitch-up. Absolutely another stitch-up. Put out by the anonymous senior Liberals. Always anonymous. Funny thing, that.
No leaks? Are you a source to media for these quotes?
No, none of them.
Who's leaking at this?
I don't know. That's a really bloody good question, to be perfectly honest. Because if I found out, I'd have a nice yarn to them.
What's going on? Good. Long time no see. Happy New Year. Yeah, good.
Have you had much communication with the PM at all? Has he contacted you at all?
No,
or had a chat?
No.
He hasn't done a bit of a reference check on you by giving you a call?
No, not as yet. PMs generally, as a rule, don't take any part in branch matters. Generally.
Do you think Grant was doomed at the start?
No, I don't think so. I think that there was a lot of positivity, and as soon as the local members endorsed him, there was a lot of positivity.
From the outside in, looking in, that looks like, the Prime Minister is building his team around what he wants, not what the local members want.
It does seem like that. I had a good chat with the Prime Minister when he was in the Shoalhaven. And he did say, I've got a really good plan. I think the plan's certainly going to work.
Do you think he's sort of setting up where the parachute is going to land while he was down here?
I think so, yeah.
I'm hoping there won't be a parachute. That would be just disastrous.
Well, the only parachutes that I'm aware that drop over the Gilmore are those that come from the Red Beret parachute unit at Albatross, so I don't believe that there'll be any parachutes coming our way.
Well, I hope he's right.
Shelley will be livid, and I reckon she'll be so pissed off.
Look, I think the Liberal Party will be.
My bewilderment is mounting every single day.
We're hearing from people it's going to be Monday. I mean, how difficult does that take?
I haven't heard that.
I think there certainly is going to be somebody who will land here very shortly.
You haven't heard that?
Why are we going to see it on the front page of the paper? Because we'll end up getting someone leaking it, and then the media will jump on it, and we won't be told anything about it.
I would be surprised if the Prime Minister was meddling here.
Mundine is parachuted.
Can't take the knocks, then you shouldn't be in the game, basically.
The guys here on the ground level are getting nothing.
Gone. Were you happy with the media coverage last night, mate? Get your name back out there?
How was that, eh?
Yeah.
Grant Shultz is still not endorsed as the Liberal candidate for Gilmore,
spurring rumours that the Prime Minister is preparing to parachute in a candidate of his own.
What springs to mind is the day after you're endorsed, I tried to approach you at that very meeting and you didn't want to talk, but yesterday you're more than happy to talk. So why was there a change of heart?
Given fairly strict instructions post-endorsement not to talk to the media. The fact that the endorsement has dragged on has been very much commented on for a number of weeks now, so there's nothing internally I'm devolving.
Move on. Move on.
Move on?
I would be surprised if the Prime Minister was meddling here. He actually gave an interview a week ago saying these are matters, pre-selections and endorsements for branch members. He actually said that, democratic process.
Have you spoken to the PM at all?
No. I've tried.
How hard?
Oh, as hard as asking him to call me back and have a conversation about this, but we've also had other people talking to him too. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully something will happen today or tomorrow.
Sydney papers are reporting that there's going to be a meeting, an announcement in the Gilmore electorate tomorrow. The Prime Minister's parachuting former Labor boss Warren Mundine. Now it's sort of unfolded in the last hour that decision has been made, that he's going to parachute him in. We've just left a press conference about an hour ago with Grant Shultz, who told me off the record that it was going to happen in the next couple of days, and asked me if I knew anything because he was being kept in the dark. I guess now that we're chasing Grant to try and find out whether he's at Shelley's office, which is where we're driving now. I think it just gives you an indication of who's pulling the strings here and how high up it goes, because the guys here on the ground level are getting nothing.
We've just seen the article drop. Mundine is parachuted. Mr. Shultz is inside Shelley Hancock's office as we speak, and we're just trying to get a grab from him. Hopefully we'll get something. It's interesting how he's been following Shelley Hancock around. This is it. The fight begins. There he comes.
Grant, is there anything you can tell us about the latest developments?
No, not really. I'm not in a position to comment. There's obviously no information come to me as yet, so as soon as I do, I'll be happy to make a statement.
Is it unfair for you?
Oh, well, look, we live in a democracy, and it's a robust democracy in politics. Sometimes things go your way and sometimes they don't. As I said before, if you can't take the knocks, then you shouldn't be in the game, basically.
Gone. That's it. You won't see him again.
Who?
Morrison.
Morrison does? Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
And what we've got, no one else has. It's quality.
The media's now chasing Fiona Phillips. They're going to head to her office, which was launched last week.
I'll get my name right after this one. If she comes back into here, do you think you could just let her know that I popped in?
Yeah?
Yes, yeah. We've spoken to Grant after missing him earlier this morning, and he's none the wiser. And now a former Labor Party boss is potentially going to be parachuted into the seat. Scott Morrison is also having a press conference this afternoon at 1:30, which is probably about an hour away. But until he speaks, we don't know, because apparently this is all happening behind closed doors without anybody else's knowledge. We've spoken to a few people. The answer is we'll just wait until Fiona gets into town. Do you know if she's back tomorrow or...?
I have no idea.
What do you reckon I make the stand up? Out the front of Fiona's office or out on the street?
No, the battleground's going to be the street, not her office.
It was like the final week of the election.
Yeah.
Bill Shorten walked the streets of Nowra, gaining momentum. Now the Prime Minister is set to do the same thing, with the shoe on the other foot, facing an uphill battle in a three-cornered race.
Okay, yeah.
You rolling?
Yep, sure.
In the final hours of the last federal election, it was Bill Shorten who hit the streets of Nowra in the final push for Gilmore votes. Now the Prime Minister is set to return to the marginal seat, facing a very difficult challenge. He's got an uphill battle if he's to keep the seat in what's shaping as a three-cornered contest. When we were talking about what was being reported, he said, oh, look, I'm finding out through the media. I don't actually know what's happening. I couldn't comment on that. We just threw 1,000 questions at him. I've got so much going through my head right now, I can't even remember what he said, but it was gold, whatever it was. There's every chance that in the next 3 hours before we go to air, a call could be made.
I thought he was a dead duck, and I thought it was the last thing we were going to see of Grant Schultz. As we started coming back to Wollongong and leaving Nowra, we started seeing all these tweets and Facebook posts about Grant Schultz running as an independent after being shunned by the Liberal Party. So it completely flipped the story on its head and changed the narrative.
I'm just passing through to have a coffee with Bonnie, but everything's shut.
Oh, right. Not here for anything else? So we've got a sign here from a Schultz supporter, and he spelled his name wrong. Oh, well, at least he's got his first name right. This is a branch member from Gerringong. So what are you doing here, mate?
I'm here supporting Grant Schultz. The head office seem to think they know more than we do, so they're bringing their man in. That's fine. Let them man the polling booths and do the running around. I've been doing it for 40 years. I won't miss it.
So we've got a Sid Marler staff here.
They'll have their own say. Yes, Grant? Oh, there's a couple of reporters. Oh, there's another one here. There's probably 3 or 4 here. Oh, there's probably 5, a few of them, yeah.
Grant Schultz is going to make his announcement
So
that he's...
I just found out.
What's your reaction to that?
Well, that's up to Grant Schultz. Better ask him.
What do you think of the parachute drop?
I'm not going to comment right now. I'm not here to do that.
The executive overturned the pre-selection of the previous unsuccessful candidate for the seat, Bill Eddy.
Oh yeah, what brings you down here tonight? Oh, it's a beautiful part of the world.
The doors were firmly closed to the media as the delicate situation was discussed at length.
Is there going to be another pre-selection?
We don't know. At this stage, we don't know.
If there was another pre-selection, would you consider yourself as a candidate?
I can't answer that yet either. I really don't know.
No, I don't intend to talk to the media. I'd say it was a private party meeting.
It's the second time Joanna Gash has launched a campaign for pre-selection for the seat of Gilmore.
I'm going to be working extremely hard to win this pre-selection. I really want to win this pre-selection.
Like previous Liberal pre-selections, the ballot was held behind closed doors. And the controversy that has dogged the Gilmore Liberal pre-selection didn't end there. A short time before the crucial vote, there was a protest walkout.
Very unhappy.
We wanted to prove our point, and we do not want to be part of this process. And that's all I've got to say. Thanks very much.
A short time later, the victor, Joanna Gash, emerged, much to the delight of supporters.
We did it. 47 seats.
Now that we have finalised the pre-selection, we can only go forward.
That's a wonderful one. Congratulations. Well done.
One learns from history, we don't dwell on it. Michael Bohm, where are you, Michael? Michael, I'm not sure if you thought I would make it, but you also took a gamble on an unknown who had a recognition factor of less than 10% when she was pre-selected. I know you were pretty keen on the Navy captain from Albatross, but you gave me a go.
Okay, everyone right?
Yep, ready to go.
Right, thank you for coming today, and I apologise for the late notice. I didn't anticipate making this decision today and addressing the media in this manner. I've resigned from the Liberal Party this afternoon. The Prime Minister has stated that he believes in a fair go. He has not given me that. This is why I, as a resident of this area, intend to run as an independent.
You don't get to bully your way into a seat in the Liberal Party.
Chaotic. Chaotic.
I hope he hasn't been played.
I'll be having a lot of cup of teas over the next few days, the next few weeks.
I don't drink tea.
The people I've probably learnt from the most, there's been quite a few, and it's not just been people, it's been experiences. And I've had a good political grounding. I mean, Shelley Hancock has been a significant part of my political career. Don Harwin, member of the Upper House. These people have been significant parts. Joanna Gash, of course. But you learn the most from your opponents in politics. Friends come and go, but enemies accumulate.
2 mayors, 3 premiers so far. What have you learnt from them? Who was the hardest to get along with?
Wow, that's a really tough question. Well, look, certainly Jo Gash was the hardest to get along with, but that's because her and I are from the same party, and sometimes when you have disagreements with people from your party, that can be challenging. But I also have learned a lot from her too. She is someone who demonstrated that through hard work and through dedication to your community, you can get things delivered and done. Gareth Ward getting the job done, a little phrase I borrowed from my friend, the former federal member.
She's going to love that.
Oh, I'm sure she'll be flattered. One of us actually did.
What politician are you copying?
I'm not copying anybody. I'm me. I didn't come here to be someone I'm not. People can take me as they find me. They either like me or not. I can't do anything about that.
Any local politicians that he inspired you to do what you
No, I think it's fair to say, and I think that it's not arrogant for me to even include this, that I'm fairly unique, and I think most people would agree with that.
Welcome to Nowra. Glad to be back. I was only here a few weeks ago. For holidays. Hey, I was down at Charlotte Heads over the break.
Camped inside State Liberal MP Shelley Hancock's Nowra office, reports surfaced that 5 senior federal Liberals backed a cross-factional plan to parachute former Labor Party President Warren Mundine into the seat, bucking the locally picked candidate from his horse.
Chaotic, totally.
That phone call you took, was that a part of that discussion?
Yeah, it was. Yep. I was in shock, completely in shock. Completely in shock because, you know, Grant Schultz had been elected by the branch members. Branch members are elected to actually vote. That decision was usurped and overridden.
Hello, mate. How are you? I told you I had a plan. Yeah, that's right.
We looked at Gilmore was because I wanted to represent a rural seat. I wanted to represent the people of Gilmore.
I wish him all the best. I hope he hasn't been played.
Thanks, guys. Can I head back inside?
Oh, well, look, I just can't believe that Scott Morrison would actually parachute someone in that lives on the North Shore in Sydney and doesn't live in the electorate. And I think it's terrible, absolutely terrible.
Explain to us what was wrong with Grant Schultz.
Well, let's address that. Ansett Marlis has been and will continue to be a great Liberal Member of Parliament until the next election.
And didn't have support within the local branches. I mean, you're a branch member, you would have seen that. And did someone tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, Grant, we should have a crack at this?
That was part of the reason I nominated. The reasons I initially nominated for were to give the people of Gilmore the representation that they deserve, the best chance.
So they weren't getting it from Ansett Marlis?
No, well, they had the choice through the branches. The branches are part of the community. The branches clearly will make their own decisions and did subsequently. The State Executive overturned that.
I haven't been heavily campaigning. I supported him because he was the endorsed candidate voted for by the branches. But I am a loyal Liberal Party, first and foremost member. I'm loyal.
But why would you parachute someone in from out of the area?
I think what we're doing here is ensuring that in Gilmore we have a candidate that everyone can get around. You know, you don't get to bully your way into a seat in the Liberal Party.
Grant Schultz has never bullied anybody in his life, and he's made an inaccurate accusation. I don't know why he made that accusation, but I think he's done himself more damage than good in making false allegations against Grant Schultz.
Can you just spell out what it is that Grant Schultz has done wrong?
Well, what I said is he challenged a sitting member. A sitting member was undermined who was doing a great job.
It's a constitutional right of every single member of the Liberal Party. In fact, you know, if you're really representing your community, the community should have that option of deciding, well, your branch members first, your branch membership, they should have a choice.
Under our constitution, there was no other way to proceed to another open pre-selection unless Mr Schultz withdrew.
Politics is a rough and tough game. You take the knocks, get up, dust off, move on.
My mother always said to me, if you've got an issue or you've got a problem, always sit down with a cup of tea and have a conversation with people, and that's what I'll be doing.
I don't drink tea.
I'll be having a lot of cup of teas over the next few days, the next few weeks, and to get the team together that we need that will win this seat.
He hasn't asked to meet me.
Right, mate.
There's just been so much chaos within the Liberal Party. We've seen it nationally, we've seen it locally.
And his decision to do what he has done yesterday, I think, just says that the New South Wales State Executive got it dead right. Thanks very much.
That was more a head office thing, and very much the Prime Minister making a call about what he thought was appropriate in the seat.
You weren't stabbed in the back?
Oh, look, I don't know. I'm still working on that.
But it was a matter very much of the Prime Minister's judgment, and I'm prepared to back his judgment because he's got a good nose for these things.
You know, I think they're really clutching at straws, and I think Gareth has been clutching at straws, and for good reason. They didn't have a candidate. They've been in total chaos, divided.
Once that rat drops dead, that's where the snake follows it, only to where that rat is, and then eats it whole.
There are a couple of hurdles. The state executive do have that constitutional right. Yeah, of course, I do feel sorry for Grant.
The main reason they have such a toxic venom is because of the food they eat. And that food they eat is rodents.
A lot of people say that the Gilmore seat isn't a Liberal Labor seat, it's a hard worker seat.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think I often get told that. People say to me, you know, we want to see the candidate, we want to see them out there, we want to know who they are, what they stand for, and it's a really big seat. So getting around is really hard. So yeah, I've done a lot of that over the last probably 3 years or so.
Well, hopefully it'll wash some of the grubby policies away from Fiona. I'd imagine there'll be a bit of froth and bubble as part of the dunk today, but it's the sort of spectacular display you'd expect from Labor. No substance, no results.
It's very nice in here.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Australia Day. First of all, I'd like to welcome some of our VIPs. We have Ansett Miles, the federal member for Gilmore. Joe Gash, Ward 2 councillor over there. And the Honourable Katrina Hodgkinson. She's the former Minister for Primary Industries and Small Business. Thank you for turning up, ladies. Excellent.
Yes, I have expressed an interest to the party about the seat of Gilmore, and that is something that is currently being considered by the New South Wales Division.
I tapped her on the shoulder.
You know, it's great to I guess it's quite flattering to be asked.
I was interested in having the best person for this seat.
There is a very interesting and different dynamic, certainly politically, in the electorate of Gilmore.
Hello, Joe. How are you? Happy Australia Day.
It's very important to me that we have the right person who is here for the seat of Gilmore. And by that I mean for the community. Not necessarily for me, but for the community.
I've been around a while and I've seen the family tussles.
So Gareth Ward's not the power broker, you're the power broker.
I've never been a power broker.
It's a strong family tussle between Anne and Gareth and Joe, of course, and then sometimes Shelley. I mean, they have family squabbles, but this one's probably the first one that's gone public.
Gareth said the other day that there's going to be more said about Joanna Gash over the next few weeks.
I have no idea. No idea. They can bring out whatever they like.
So it's on.
What?
It's on.
It's totally on.
Has it worked out in your favour having the parachute drop now?
Look, I want to emphasise, it's not a them or us. For me, it's a coalition seat.
Some would think differently.
I know that.
That's what they're going to say next week.
And people will say anything they like about me, as they have done. Like, you know, to call me a Liberal power broker, Gareth's words, and the senior Liberal who's anonymous saying that there'd be a mass exodus.
Federal election is a matter for, I guess, the party leadership and the Prime Minister to try and entice back those members who've already sadly resigned from many of the branches in Gilmore.
People said lots of things about me, and I wear that.
You can't hear this coming. I'll take you for a drive.
You can definitely hear her coming.
Used to be mine.
Yes, I know, and they've been celebrating ever since. I'm really pleased to be here today with Shelley Hancock and, of course, the Mayor of Kiama. What Premier has been able to do is embrace the government's plans for the next iteration of public transport, and that includes environmentally friendly buses on our roads.
Is this the phony war, or has it started?
I think it's definitely started.
If the best the Labor Party can do is make it up...
Is that disappointing?
Well, I think people telling lies is always disappointing.
Are they telling lies?
Yes.
Do you tell lies?
No.
We should be sitting up there.
Who has the best polling?
Well, I wouldn't know.
Polling?
We should be sitting up the back of
How's your polling going?
I can't talk about internal party
Not
matters.
good.
I'll grab one as well, thanks.
What do you think?
Good, fantastic, well done. Congratulations.
Looks like they're using Green's Terry Barrett call flute for their sign.
I demand he takes it down.
I don't know where he got that core flute from, but anyway.
He's using somebody else's property for a start.
One of a fellow that said, I want to stick your name up in the window. He went and did it, but I had no idea it was where that we had it was Terry Barrett, wasn't it, from Greece? That's a few years ago now.
It was about me being involved in a previous campaign.
He's recycling, which is environmentally responsive.
Just noticed you're in the ladies' auxiliary.
What's wrong with that, Warren?
Oh, no, it's all fine.
You know,
it's all good,
isn't it? Yeah.
We all want to bring the men and women together.
You've been on the ground for a few days. Are you finding your feet after the parachute drops?
Look, I'm having a lot of fun now. It's because now it gets all serious.
Look, he's got challenges. As I said, I've got no issues with him. In fact, I don't envy the task that he's been given.
The battle is to actually win this seat.
Oh, tough in a different way. I've definitely, there's no doubt I'm the underdog.
Every vote's important, and that's what I'll be aiming for. Every vote is important, and we need to get every vote.
The whole ball game's changed. In fact, that's what we intend to do. We intend to change the game.
How crucial is it that you're going to have a cup of tea with all the local members, and how have you been going with that cup of tea?
We started those conversations a few days ago. We're getting everyone G'd up to focus on the election and...
Watch this bloke. Watch this bloke.
Why?
He's one of the few people I know that can follow you into a revolving door and come out first, is Michael.
No.
Watch out.
Mate, I'll have to get dressed up now after this. Look at this.
It's a very show, mate.
What have you heard about Gareth?
I've heard he's a great guy and he's a really good bloke.
One thing with Gareth, he is fast.
Shelley said she doesn't drink tea.
She doesn't drink tea? Well, that's good. I can do water, I can do alcohol, I can do anything.
We've been in constant contact. It's wonderful to have Warren here, and he's doing a great job being on the ground, working really hard. Grant Schultz is somebody who will fight hard for our community, and I have no doubt that Grant Schultz will be a really strong advocate for our community. Grant Schultz is that fighter, and I am proud to support him. Anything else to add? Nope. Absolutely looking forward to working with him. I'll let you go.
Catch you later, mate. Good on you.
I'm really enjoying working with Joe.
Who's excited the campaign for Gareth?
As a person, Gareth is a good bloke. Anna Watson doesn't pull stunts.
Today, we rip in and get underway. There we go, underway.
It's been a great week, actually. I've been around and about this week, meeting a lot of people. The one thing I'm finding consistently is that people are being very, very encouraging about nominating for the seat of Gilmore, which I'd really like to do.
In politics, Joe, can you spin a yarn like these guys?
No, and I won't even try.
Jo's such an important figure in this local area with a proven track record, and I'm just so pleased that she's here with me. I'm really enjoying working with Jo.
I noticed you're wearing Katrina's badge.
Yes.
So it's official then, you're a campaign manager or?
No, just a worker, just a helper. But, yeah, it all depends if she's pre-selected.
I'm really pleased to hear you standing.
Oh, thanks, Tina. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, really.
Yeah. And it's official now?
No, not until next weekend. Okay.
I always said from day one that if she was standing that I would help her. I do believe that Katrina is the best person for the job.
And I'm glad that she's on my side.
And I'm still a member of the Liberal Party, even though some people have said we've got her because she's working for somebody else. Just remember, we are a coalition family.
I think it's important that we become a little bit more respectful in politics and people are over all that nastiness. They're my policies for the elections. Yes. Running against Gareth, the state elections.
Oh, that's right, with your state elections. Yes.
1496. Thanks, mate. Enjoy.
And I'm up against, like, Gareth Ward, who is phenomenal, let's face it. He's a great campaigner and he does do a lot for the area. These are the lions. We're looking for Gareth Ward. Oh, look, yeah, if he wasn't a Liberal Party member, you know, as a person, Gareth is a good bloke. I get really excellent responses from people. I don't expect them to tell me flat out that they're going to vote for me, but at least they're thinking about what they want. Yeah, so she is standing. Gilmore's going to be interesting.
I don't think it's been officially announced, but I think...
No, it's not official.
No, but I think it's going to happen.
But she wouldn't be wasting her time going around, would she?
Hello,
nice to meet you.
You too, lovely.
You're on the campaign trail like me, probably.
Well, yes, I'm sort of on a pre-campaign trail.
Yeah. Women standing up in politics can change the world and make a big difference.
So what's been happening at the show?
Well, While we've been going around, we saw a ball and took some photos and just talking to people. People need to know, what we stand for.
Glad you saw the bull then, Nita.
I don't play to win, then I lose. I have to play to win.
Here's to Gareth! 3, 2, 1, Gareth Ward!
Great day today. We were all over the electorate from the very show, where I was doing what I've been doing every year, and that's working with Apex, previously in Rotary now.
Wash your hands before you give us our sandwich.
Oh, mate, don't worry. That's what I've got this here for, mate. Share with you. Mate, I was feeding the 5,000 today. You single out one. It was a very busy day, but it was good to see the Liberal candidate for Gilmore out and about. Enjoy. We are running a very strong campaign, and I'm really, really proud to have the young Liberal movement behind me.
Who's excited the campaign for Gareth?
But also young Liberals from this region. These are people who are locals, who want to see me as the member return because of the things that we're doing. So there is an effervescence and electricity about this campaign, and that's because we are getting on with it. We are absolutely smashing it. We're having a great time. Well, that was embarrassing. All right, let's go have a drink.
Great day?
Mate, a fantastic day.
Why?
Well, this is the largest ever single investment in the history of the Princes Highway.
We're actually undertaking works that is going to desecrate country. We're changing it, we're moving it, and there is absolute benefit to our broader community.
So many people said they won't be alive, they'll never drive on it. Take a look at this. Today, we rip in and get underway.
Hey, there we go, underway. Well done.
Member for Shell Harbour thinks this might be an election stunt.
Well, of course, I wouldn't expect the member for Shell Harbour to know how to deliver or build infrastructure because she's never promised it and never delivered it.
Anna Watson doesn't pull stunts. And the other thing Anna Watson wouldn't do is not invite the sitting member in relation to the sod turning of the Albion Park Rail bypass.
This is in my electorate. This is a project that they voted against. People who don't back in projects don't get invitations.
I'll be cutting the ribbon, mate. We'll be in government and I will be cutting that ribbon.
If the government changes and Anna Watson tries to open this thing, I will do a degroote. I will get on a horse, I will come through and cut it open.
Gareth Ward is all pastry and no pie. We all know that.
They didn't do any of the work for this. They voted against it in Parliament. There's no way I'm letting them get away with that.
I declare this ambulance station officially open with great excitement and pleasure. Thank you. This is a new station, so 12 new officers here. There'll be critics of today's announcement or today's opening, and I just ask the community to put those negative comments aside and just think about the good things that are happening. All right, let's go have a look.
Is it weird that Anson Miles was here for this opening?
I don't know.
Did you invite her?
I'm not going to comment on that.
No, I was invited here by the New South Wales Ambulance, and as the federal member, you're supposed to be there to reflect the community values and community views. It's actually part of your job.
Was it weird that she's at a state announcement?
No. Let's go. Word gets around. That's important. Would have been nice perhaps to have had an invitation as far as council is concerned.
Is that disappointing?
Yes. Nevertheless, I'm here and I'll continue to do so if I can.
Well, look, Bill Shorten in Nowra tonight, yes, really strange. I don't think he's ever been here before. He might have been once or twice.
Welcome to Nowra.
Yeah, great to be back. G'day. How are you going?
This is my third public meeting here since I've become opposition leader and my fourth or fifth visit.
Michael Daly, I think, for the first time. In fact, I invited Michael Daly to come down many years ago to talk to the community about a new police station. He said his diary was too busy. Well, finally he's here. Let's see what he has to promise.
So what can Labor do here better than what Liberals have done? Be honest.
Let's see what they have to promise to this community. That's all I'm interested in. If they want to have a town hall kind of meeting, that's fine.
So you're saying the local members down here aren't being honest?
Gotta go.
They're not being honest?
Oh, government's dishonest.
Are you honest?
Yeah. I get that you're sick of instability in politics. We understand that you don't want politicians talking about themselves. You want us talking about you. You want to see everyday Australians get ahead. That's our plan.
Would you all join with me and give a rousing applause to the next Prime Minister of Australia, Mr. Bill Shorten, and the next Premier of New South Wales, Mr. Michael Daly.
wander around.
Yep.
I'll catch up with you.
Right.
All right.
See you, mate.
Yeah.
She's a friend of mine, a colleague. She served in the state parliament with me, and I'm a great fan and admirer. She was very good to me when she was a minister, and I really liked seeing her out and about.
It's very significant that they've said, OK, Gilmore, fine, let's open for pre-selection, let's see who nominates. There's no parachuting in of candidates. In the Nationals, we have to do it the tough way.
Still no love lost between you and Joe Gash, not even a hello or goodbye before?
She said hello on the way past. I said hello.
Heading off. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate your help. Thank you.
Both on speaking terms?
Yeah, absolutely. No problem there at all.
It's good to see her out endorsing Katrina.
Look, it's up to every individual as to what they do, but you know, people get so obsessed about this stuff. I mean, the reality is the electorate will get a chance to vote on who they believe is the best member, and that'll be based on what they perceive to be the issues at the time and who has the solutions to those and who they have the most confidence in.
Gareth Ward, Warren Mundine.
Good to meet you.
Nice to see you as well too.
We're wandering around, so where's your sausage thing around here?
First time I've met Mr Mundine, and looking forward to seeing the federal election play out. Look, the problem for us at the moment is that the clash of having the state and federal elections means that there's so much noise in the marketplace.
You had a meeting with Mundine?
Yeah, we had coffee. Yeah.
Was it productive?
Yeah, I gave him some good pointers on what's going on in the region, and he was very appreciative of those pointers.
I've been warned about him. I don't know.
You have to talk to the people that issue the warnings. I don't think I come with a health warning.
Were you the one that warned him about Gareth Ward?
Good Lord, I don't talk about other people.
I know there's been a lot of questions about federal politics, but I'm getting on with the job of focusing on the campaign that I have in front of me and the 42 days left to convince the electorate that I should receive their trust, confidence and support to continue the job that I've started.
They are not from this electorate.
Local, please.
Not only is it a lie, he's changed the paint job.
Carrying on like a 5-year-old kid.
We could see some turbulence for me.
They would have given her hell.
I'm sure Gareth Ward is waiting for my phone call.
Absolute disaster.
Destructive.
Oh my gosh. Same answer, look in a mirror.